Hello, I'm Terry Miller, a multimedia designer for a Department of Energy contractor. I create material for the Safety Department, Public Affairs, and Training. I used to work as an independent contractor, and at one point I found myself between contracts and looking for work. And I noticed that nearly half of the jobs listed wanted instructional designers with multimedia experience. And that's why I'm pursuing my master's degree in instructional design. I want to be one who is skilled in both disciplines. I saw a lot of parallels with my career journey as I read Chapter 1 of Mastery, especially in Robert Greene's description of the 5 strategies of finding your life's work. One that really struck me was the first strategy, returning to your roots. Often one's life task is hinted at by childhood inclinations. In my own life as a child, I enjoyed drawing. I would sit for hours drawing a picture and then I would proudly show it to everyone. Of course, I didn't realize at the time that parents often lie to their kids and tell them how good their artwork is, even if it isn't, and mine wasn't. Still, I love the idea of creating art. Of course, as Greene points out, as you mature, frequently you lose touch with those childhood tendencies, and I can certainly identify with this because as I got older, I realized that I really wasn't very good at drawing, and because I thought that was the only way to produce art, eventually I didn't bother with it anymore. Now, if we jump forward a few decades, I find myself working in multimedia, doing a lot of graphic artwork. So what changed? Well, with the advent of computer software like Photoshop and Blender, I find myself able to fulfill my desire to craft artwork in spite of the fact that I still can't draw. Greene mentions that when you return to your roots, you don't have to make anything new, you just have to find those interests that were buried inside you all this time. And that is what I did. I rediscovered my love for creating art and channeled it toward doing so with computer software. Of course, there are other strategies about which Greene talks, such as occupying the perfect niche. In the career world, we are always scratching and clawing, competing for resources, and ultimately just trying to survive. We spend so much time in that quest that we don't find time to pursue mastery of our calling. Greene then tells us that if we are to survive, we need to find a niche that we can fill and eventually dominate. And that is my plan for this degree, being able to fill a role of multimedia designer, one who also knows instructional design. He then speaks of avoiding the false path. How many of us have fallen into this trap, taking a job for the wrong reason? More than once I have been guilty of following false paths by accepting jobs just because of the money they offered or the attention that I would receive in that job. And as Greene warns us, I didn't find satisfaction in what I was doing. Another important approach is letting go of the past. Change is inevitable, and we have to grow and be flexible to adapt to those changes. In the multimedia world, change seems to come almost every day. And if I'm not willing to change with the times, I will soon find that my skills are obsolete. And finally, Greene talks about finding your way back. He tells us that nothing good ever comes from following the false path. And as I said in my discussion post, I mildly disagree with this idea that a false path is completely useless, because in my own journey, while following a couple of false paths, I gained knowledge and skills that I would not have otherwise had, and that are still of significant value to me today. However, I completely agree that once something is identified as a false path, it should be abandoned as soon as possible in favor of mastering our life's work. As I move forward in my career, I would eventually like to start a business with my wife, who has been a teacher and instructional designer for more than 25 years. We would like to produce academically sound, interactive training courses for businesses, courses that are well designed and utilize high-quality multimedia. In the meantime, over the next 3 weeks, I would like to pursue a couple of goals that are somewhat related to each other. First, I would like to cultivate the habit of utilizing my time better. Secondly, I hope that learning better time management, I'm able to better regulate my sleep patterns so that I spend less time yawning. Anyway, that is where I hope to take my career path and how I see this degree fitting into it. I'm looking forward to the journey over the next year. Thanks.